Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer 2019. We're up to potentially the final game of day number 1 of week 9. DAMWON lead against KT 1-0 and looked a little bit more dominant in game number 1. But of course, anything could happen and KT could turn it around. Of course, they were able to take that victory against Hanwha Life. But with that gentleman back in form, the team is looking a lot better. Of course, Kingen, our MVP, show me the DAMWON style, is what the fans were saying in the audience there. But this gentleman on your screen right now wants to show you the KT style. And KT of Summer have been a long time coming. And they better turn up now if they want to stay out of that relegation zone.
And if any loss here, they add the same exact match score, 4-11, but their game score will be worse than Hanwha. So they will be currently in relegations. Let's run you by the remaining matches for KT. They face Jin Air this week, very winnable match.
Yep.
From their Sandbox and Kingser, obviously a lot more tricky. Meanwhile, Hanwha Life Esports have SKT this week. They have FLICKR, and they have Griffin next week. So easier run-in for KT, but stranger things can happen, and we are in a scenario where every match, more so than any other split I can remember, means a lot. Even game score is going to be close. And a year ago, we had 4 teams end the season at 13-5, you'll remember. We could have close to 5 teams, maybe even more, potentially equal around there. Some of these teams meet head-to-head, so it cannot be all 7. We have 7 teams in calculation for 5 spots in playoffs, not 6 like the LEC and LCS. In this particular game, we should bring you guys up to date. You'll notice a Talia first-round ban from KT Rolster.
Yeah, Kingen now thinking of taking the Jace away from Nuguri as well. He was very dominant on the top side of the map despite getting ganked, but the Sejuani is the last-minute switchover, and Score has been making this one work very, very well. Remember, if you think back to their most recent series and their victory over Hanwha Life, it was Camille, Sejuani, Nautilus throughout every single one of these games, and we'll see whether KT is going to roll back that Camille once again.
I actually really like Sejuani first pick against DAMWON Gaming because the way they play the game is 2 solo lanes that want to push out, get priority, 1-3-1 is their usual method for victory. Sejuani first pick plus your kind of reviewer's tilt of Fiora, Camille, Irelia melee carries puts so much pressure on the solo laner because you cannot really outplay the insta-stack permafrost that some of these champions can pull off. So against a team that loves to play topside really only, they kind of fall back on bot lane if they have to, but they almost always play topside. I think Sejuani first pick is gold standard against DAMWON. We'll see how much synergy KT want to put into making this work. They don't have to draft both solo lanes in this round.
They don't. The Aatrox has been locked in though, and remember the Jace is still available, so it could be that DAMWON can move back to that Jace if they want to. SnowFlower heads towards the Tahm Kench on the bottom side of the map.
And the Tahm Kench, in case you guys are wondering, is we're going to play weak side bot lane and try to keep fighting when DAMWON Gaming are traditionally a top side team. So they're taking Tahm now so they can make it Tahm Ashe, Tahm Ezreal, whatever it has to be on the bottom side.
Whoa, okay.
And here's the Vladimir. It's open. It's taken. And KT's going to try to mow down the Hemomancer, and DAMWON Gaming, if there's the right counter gank on these lanes, might invalidate the entire KT draft if they can stay ahead.
Yep. See, very vocal on the side of DAMWON Gaming here. Nuclear on your screen right now. Having some words, deciding what they want to go with as the Zoe's going to be banned away here. Of course, a key pick for BDD historically. Could have gone to it last game, but decided not to. See where DAMWON are going to draw their next ban as Volibear is taken away from this DAMWON roster.
They want to remove any tools to play through bot lane for DAMWON. It's not usually the way they play, but Volibear is actually really good, even in an isolated map state. If he's not going to be counter-ganked, a melee champion engaging isn't as punishing as if the jungler is there to instantly profit the first time he walks up. So, going to take away the Volibear here. We're really thinking this game is going to be 3v3 top side and then a happy 2v2 farming out on bot side. Second ban comes in to the Nico. They want to know the lane assignments as clearly as possible to DAMWON Gaming.
Yeah, get rid of that flex opportunity between Kingen and BDD, and BDD was able to play out the laning phase very well, even though the team fights didn't necessarily go entirely the way of the Nico. ShowMaker can do some interesting things here this game. He could be playing either the Silas or the Vladimir.
Or a new champ, yeah.
Yeah, or we could be moving possibly an AD champion to that mid lane, much like that Renekton in game number 1. But it's not going to be the Crocodile. He is banned away second. No bears or crocs here available on the KT side, or an alligator if you're that way inclined.
Would have been something very thematic about using the Crocodile Dundee-inspired Renekton skin, given the Australian Embassy was around, and we're Aussie casters, of course. BeryL says, well, I didn't have the best Alistair game, but I did win on it, so...
I don't know, it was pretty good. He got engaged on a whole bunch of times and then turned a lot of them around.
He almost soloed through the game by suiciding in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't so good, but sometimes you can... Oh, God, we're doing it.
Well, that happened. The Sona's coming in here. Remember, this is a pretty brittle Sona that's been heavily nerfed.
Okay.
Yasuo would have synergy with the Sejuani here mostly, but I think it's a bit too bold, and it's going to be the Camille, so it's very much another lane they can play through. So they found a way to get magic damage in the comp, but it's the Sona in the bottom side here. Does DAMWON Gaming find some ways to play bot side? The answer is certainly possible if they have the GP ult to throw down bot lane as well.
Yeah, this could actually be a big turnaround as they're deciding to move away from it potentially.
Wow,
ShowMaker could be playing that Aurelia in the mid lane, or we could be switching it up to a Nuguri one also. I have a feeling that this was largely Nuguri having a conversation to his team saying, I really like Vladimir, guys. I want to play him. And I think it's likely that ShowMaker is going to be the one piloting this Aurelia.
That is the decision in mid lane. It's going to be a very interesting top side of the map, whatever the lanes go. These are two lanes that Sejuani can have a lot of setup for the permafrost. So it is basically KT making the same read we do. It's DAMWON Gaming. They'll play top side. And the Sejuani allows there to be high inroads, high chance of a successful gank wherever score goes. But if Vladimir ever gets going, it's Nuguri. ShowMaker can also do a lot of outplaying on this Aurelia. So we'll have to watch the jungle battle here, because the pathing could be oh so important when there's significant inroads for everyone to make, except perhaps for going top lane early for a Vladimir.
And I just think that Sona is such high finesse level necessary in order to navigate it. You can see this composition will be that Sona Tahm Kench, the LCK favorite, alongside the Permafrost duo in the Camille and the Sejuani, with an Aatrox in the mid lane, piloted by BDD this time.
I think this is one of the times where I'd actually go a little bit more succinct.
Yeah.
Praise positioning has been pretty awful in Summer, and you're very squishy with a single Devour and a heavily nerfed Tahm Kench. So it is not Sona Taric levels of late game. It is stronger in the laning phase, but actually pulling this off, Prey hasn't necessarily inspired a lot of confidence that he can actually make the Sona work.
Well, let's see whether he can turn that one around. They did come off a match victory last time, but this is for all the marbles. DAMWON looking down at a 2-0. Let's see what happens in game 2. All right, very prestigious looking ShowMaker there in the mid lane.
Is that the...
Is that...
I would guess so.
Yeah, prestiged.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it is. Prestiged project is what I was trying to say. The alliteration caught me just a little bit on the Aurelia skin there.
The only time I ever prestiged was on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
How many times did you prestige?
I think just a single. I got to like level 170 or something. I think it was a single prestige.
I made it to 1 as well, actually, in that particular Call of Duty. That was just a really good one.
Yeah, I kind of fell off after that one. I know a lot of
me
people, maybe our younger viewers, have played the more recent ones, but...
Call of Duty 2 was the best, though.
I'm going to be honest. I got bored of first-person shooting at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, I played BioShock Infinite. I loved the world building. And the moment that it started killing, I was like, no, that's not the game I wanted. I just don't want to explore the world.
That wasn't a you thing, though. That was just that game having a really, really good story.
How
but the
good would
gameplay
that
just
game
wasn't
have
even
been
that interesting.
if you didn't have to kill anybody?
Oh, so much better.
Or shoot people, I guess, is the big thing.
My favorite first-person game, you don't do anything other than walk, actually.
You played a walking simulator?
Basically. It was called Dear Esther. It was purely about story. Incredible game. One of the first games made basically just as a walkthrough art simulator.
Well, you want to see some walkthrough art? Watch Nuguri Lane. Yeah, it's a great laning phase. But take a look at these keystones. It is, in fact, Klepto Camille versus Klepto Vlad.
But we've one-upped the amount of Kleptos by having Prey with Klepto on the bottom side. So in a natural scenario where everyone's going even, KT are actually ahead.
Still, this is
that's a lot of
Camille
Klepto.
is optimistic, but I guess the idea is you get zoned and then you hook shot in, quickly get some Klepto and then get the hell out, so you can kind of understand it.
It's also working here for Nuguri, who hits level 2 finally. Let's have himself the Crimson Rush, so of course we'll be playing around with that health bar a lot.
If we could communicate with our observers, I would love about kind of 12 minutes, 14 minutes of check-in on gold earned between the two. I'm guessing Vladimir will just have many more lane states in which you can queue auto.
Yep. Right now, he is, of course, has a lot of healing in his secondary. He's going to be able to keep him topped up as this game goes on, but won't have that backline access that you have with something like the Phase Rush or other options that you can get, nor the extra damage from something like an Electrocute or Airy or something like that. Just so many different options when it comes to the Vladimir. Spellbook, of course, is a very strong one on the Vlad, being able to get towards a Ghost in the late game.
Do note that Nuguri has no way to open up a Killer Instinct in the side lane, so Nuclear can't swoop into this matchup. There's no CC. He'd have to hit the W himself. Meanwhile, ShowMaker, of course, does. Slow push into bot lane turret. Canyon was there. Mid lane roamed. So smartly, Prey and SnowFlower say, well, this is an our minion wave to claim.
Nope, but it's a plate gank, and Nuclear and BeryL are going to easily be able to claim their first at 3.5 minutes. That is certainly a good clip for that one, and we'll be able to answer the extra gold earned by that Kleptomancy that we were talking about earlier on.
And if you're well drilled, you can kind of make that play every, what, 2.5 minutes or so. You can make the play where you roam down your bot lane, you get your lane states, and then you do that 3 times, and you probably get the turret, right? So definitely a plan for DAMWON Gaming to get a lot of gold bot side from just smart roam timings and jungle pathing from Canyon and ShowMaker.
I'm talking about smart things. Nuguri activating the Camille passive with an auto attack, making sure she has the physical shield, and then being able to put the follow-up damage down. Really, really nice trading here from Nuguri. Yeah, if you want to learn how to be an incredible laning top laner for solo queue, just watch Nuguri. He is so incredibly good. 15
gold so far from Kingen compared to 270. Nice keystone, bruh.
Yeah, exactly.
Might as well have Predator if you're never going to use it.
Exactly right. Probably wishes he'd taken Conqueror now. He's going to go back home.
Smokes, I've never seen that much of a punking in the keystone.
And now has 2 Doran's Blades. You can tell he's frustrated about the amount of work he's been able to not get done.
We actually had in the LEC, you might have missed this, I forget which game it was in. One of the games I cast, we had a pause where the player had played 18 minutes on a Klepto champion, had 99 procs, but had never actually gotten a sack of gold or an item.
What the heck? That is ridiculous. As there's the headbutt pulverized. Score has to flash with responding, though, immediately. Even Aftershock getting value here as First Blood goes over to Canyon. And he is well and truly on the board once again and might be our first player to move above the 700 points in the MVP rankings.
The What the Heck applied both to the immediate scenario and Dan's misfortunes for Misfits Premier in the LEC. Reported not a bug, by the way, which was interesting. As topside, Nuguri finally going to be passing over some gold.
Yeah, a little bit, but is going to be able to get some back there, as you can see, only extending the amount of Klepto value he's picked up. He's also got himself some Boots of Lucidity as well as his Kindle Gem, so he's almost got all the CDR that he'd ever need.
So DAMWON Gaming, you're going to expect bot lane priority, and the call from KT would have been, I guess they backed because they weren't showing in lane, but smartly BeryL had roamed. Just speaking of roams.
Yep, BDD going to get headbutted around. ShowMaker flashing forward, needs another auto. Oh, that's a little bit awkward, but Aatrox followed him and decided that he deserved the kill.
I mean, you know, it felt a bit charitable at the end there. I don't know about the donation. Yeah. Maybe the Ignite was really, really late reapplied by ShowMaker.
Maybe.
But I don't think so.
No, I think that was just a whoopsie. As BeryL, he's going to Hex Flash his way back into the lane.
I want to see the replay. It's possible he was already dead, but in terms of the Ignite, if it was super late, maybe I missed something there, but it's certainly out of context.
I think the Ignite did wear off from what I saw, but very strange scenario. Looked like BDD was potentially trying to bait, wanted to get that turnaround again, but there's the headbutt pole. As Prey has to use the flash. Song of Celerity comes in there as SnowFlower. Able to turn that one around. The flash forward from Nuclear, though, and they're able to get the 2v2 kill. SnowFlower desperately trying to find something. Gets the Devour, regurgitates Nuclear there, but the flash is answered by BeryL's incredible timing on the Pulverize.
Call it timings, call it cooldowns, whatever it works. 2 for 0 trade on the bot side. Tahm Kench thought he had his meal all set up. He'd been stirring that barrel of goodness for a while. Gonna go and watch the mid lane play first. As wherever BeryL goes, good times are following.
Yep, look for when the Ignite is applied here onto BDD.
How does this work? Because it looked really comically bad.
There's the Ignite, and so that's been ticking for a long time.
There'll be one more?
No.
Then why did he? I don't know. And then bot side, BeryL decided to come here as well. Really good play. Watch Nuclear's play here. He turns around his model, and then as the Alistar passes him, ships in the night, they go for the kill. And I thought for sure that combat Tahm Kench was going to be able to pick up the kill. Gets the split. First the headbutt is perfect, and then they bait out a flash. ShowMaker is hyped.
Yeah, he's super surprised that that one actually happened.
I believe he said, nice, wow.
Yeah, he did. He did definitely say that. Thankfully, that works in English as well. As Kingen and Nuclear have started off the Dragon here. 4-0 is the kill score, and this game is running away from KT Rolster very, very quickly in this early game.
BeryL's jacking up that Alistar win rate, maybe. It's going to be above 70%.
And I reckon Canyon's probably pretty annoyed. He wants to get to that sole first position in the MVP rankings, and BeryL is saying, no, mate. This is time for me.
Something cool to discuss around that point is that, I'll watch Canyon here on the corner of my eye as I get the stat ready. DWG Gaming, they have played, this is their 39th game, and that's about kind of where most teams are at, around kind of 35 to 40 numbers.
Yeah.
Interesting fact is that first place in MVPs only at 7 MVPs out of 39.
Yeah,
so
we've been spreading them out a lot.
There's been a lot of team performances here, so we don't have the 1,400 that you see in some seasons.
Yep. Of course, Kobe getting a hell of a lot of points in the season he won. Yeah.
The most we've ever had was bot lane.
There's a crescendo onto 2. BeryL just weathers that storm, doesn't even get an ultimate out, and DAMWON are going to continue pushing on the bottom side.
For you stat aficionados, we've only ever had a 2-way tie. That was BDD and Kuro, I believe. Maybe Crown and
no, it was BDD and Kuro, yeah, I think so.
I think there might have been 2 times that happened. This bot lane.
There's a headbutt Pulv. Killer Instinct comes down as well as Prey's going to get devoured. Wanders over. The Vanguard's Edge comes in. That is going to mean the death of the Sonar. BeryL is going to sacrifice himself as BDD is down here. Once again, lit on fire. This time going to stay underneath the turret. Not going to be able to do anything, though, as the hijacked Glacial Prison is going to secure it. And we've got teleports all around this map. Nuguri always more than happy to play 1v2. And now has himself the 2v2 follow-up. But the teleport was from a champion that is pretty damn squishy. Also didn't have much of a health bar. And Nuguri's going to say, what the heck were you doing in my lane? And the follow-up kill is not so good. So DWG Gaming make a great play and then a terrible one.
Nuclear's been learning from BDD. He was feeling like he wanted to come front row and just handball one over there. They were very optimistic they'd have enough damage to get the kill, given that Vladimir's in the farming phase, not in the blowing people up phase. Weird and wonderful can a DWG Gaming Series be. And 10 minutes in, we got 10 kills.
Yeah, this is certainly a more exhilarating one as we check out the replay here of this bottom lane play. It was an attempt, and you can see BeryL holds on to the Pulverize, wanting to get it on both Prey and SnowFlower at the same time before the Devour came in. Really cute play and thinking from BeryL.
It was also a headbutt mini stun into the wall to open up the Killer Instinct. This hard crowd control, so just really well played around the Alice. Let's watch the replay, because Nuguri was actually under no threat of dying even after the ultimatum was thrown down, and then actually got baited. That's the only thing you can say here, because just the Sejuani ult into instant pop on our good friend Nuclear. Nuguri chased down as well. This was a hell of a whoopsie.
That was, that's, there's no other way to describe it, Papa. I'm glad that you utilized the beautiful term of whoopsie to describe that play. Shelly going to bite the dust here as DWG, of course, still have all of the control, but it's not as much as they had before. 3-0-1 on ShowMaker. He is the big boy at this point in time, very close to Trinity Force here.
We saw a very small Aurelia earlier today. Now we're seeing these items really early. I think it was, what was it, 19-minute Trinity Force was in the last game. This one, it's going to be a good old 14 or earlier Trinity Force from this Aurelia. She is a big deal.
She is. ShowMaker might almost already have that money available. Expecting it to at least be there at around 14 minutes as we've got Shelly spawning on the top side, and Canyon's deciding that he wants to take some of this plate gold himself. He's got himself an ultimatum now on the top side also as Shelly comes in. delivers a lot of gold, and Nuguri just sidestepped a crescendo underneath the turret. And things going from better to better for DAMWON since they're whoopsie on the top side.
This lane assignment is perfect for DAMWON because there's no kill threat under turret by Tom Kench Sona. It's not going to happen, especially with crescendo down. So he's going to get a lot more CS and get a lot more experience. Meanwhile, enemy team gets zoned. And look at how good Nuguri is at delaying the turret from being taken. No one builds AD in this lane, even with the quest calculation. One thing you can't do so well is not go and push down turrets, so it takes a lot longer. The tempo lead to DAMWON game.
Yep, you can see that KT were really trying to get some of that tempo back, but just like you say, didn't have the tools required in order to make that one work, and they probably should have known that, right? Like, I mean, maybe it's time to rethink and maneuver, as Prey does have teleport available, SnowFlower with the Abyssal Voyage. They could have made that decision.
Because if you think about it on a very removed term, you don't look at the results of this season, it's Young Guns, DAMWON Gaming, second split in the LCK, not a lot of experience around them. Nuclear, of course, been around the world, but other than that, a lot of new players, as the 140 gold confirmation is there. KT have so many old heads and way more Klepto gold, as you might imagine. But KT have Score. It's one of the smartest pathing junglers of all time. You think of Prime Dandy, Prime Cacao, Score for so many years. And then you jump over, you know, they have BDD, they have Prey, they have a lot of smart players. Prey was known as the shot-calling AD carry, and yet how did they lose game one? Well, they got run around the map and looked a bit mortal, trying to make map movements, and in game two, they didn't recognize the speed of the play-in. Maybe that's because there's new variables like bot lane non-AD carries and things being thrown in, but it seems like DAMWON Gaming are playing the smart, controlled game, and KT Rolster are definitely second to the pace of the game.
Yeah, and also DAMWON are playing smart, controlled, but also, you know, maybe overly aggressive at some times. But this is playing into their favor, right? They're doing stuff, and I think if we're in a meta that rewards a proactive player, it's a healthy meta.
Sure.
And that's what DAMWON are capitalizing on here, looking for their second Cloud Drake as BeryL's looking for another kill and another opportunity to steal away the MVP.
Also,
from Kingen.
Maybe you should check in your LCK card if you believe that to be true about proactive.
Well,
let's watch this play. Seeing the reaction from KT.
Yep, big teleport coming in. The Dragon does go over to DAMWON, but maybe there's a fight as the Hex Flash was actually channeled, and the Glacial Prison is going to leave its doors way open.
DAMWON Gaming at Audi, and now they have inside track onto mid lane as well. For how long, we'll see.
Abyssal Voyage going to get KT underneath his turret to try and defend it. It was a great rotation from DAMWON, answered by the ultimate of Tom Kench, though. DAMWON are still going to be able to move back, and they've already got what they wanted. Camille on the bottom side, though, used that teleport in order to get in for the flank, but instead turns it into bottom lane outer turret.
No plates, but nice to get the turret down and get some gold going. Wants to come back for the little gold. Cool.
Bit of extra money there as well, as you can see. So we're checking in on the amount of money for those plates. 480 extra on the side of DAMWON is understandable based on how that early game went.
I'm not sure Vladimir got more than one plate this game. I'm going to think maybe one.
Yeah, I think it was one.
Didn't get any of the 3 bot lane, so definitely not a lot of plate gold, but the Klepto equals it all out. And when you're just talking about gold, the 4-kill advantage currently opens up a 2,600 gold lead.
Yep, and also we need to talk about why the Boots of Lucidity actually came in here from Nuguri. He hasn't been able to pick up Transcendence in this particular rune build. He went Ferocity second to make sure that he has as much ability to regen as possible, so doesn't have that extra 10%, which is why he needs this extra on top of the runes that he's going to get with the scaling cooldown reduction.
Because you remember, the world now knows about Fiendish Codex, Kindle Gem, Transcendence, and basically with the scaling cooldown reduction you can get in the top of the stats tree.
Yeah.
45% CDR build. It's very well known. It's what all Vladimir players around the world do. Nuguri invented that in the Kesper Cup when the new runes came through and we saw the new patch and new lineups. He is the one people have looked to for Vladimir guides. He's the one that has varied up his keystone and always been ahead, so we always defer to him on these decisions. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yep. I also like the fact that Boots of Lucidity reduced cooldown of items, and he's got a Zhonya's Hourglass as well as a Proto Belt on the way, so going to be able to make great use of that one as well. Interesting that he didn't go for Genius Hunter. He wanted to make sure that he had Ravenous in order to get as much healing as possible.
Ravenous is just so good. It is.
Here's gank. BDD, going to flash very early, gets out of the way of the headbutt. Nicely done, but still has to trade down when it comes to the summoner spells. Nuguri underneath his turret. He's going to have to time things nicely here as Canyon doesn't want to do battle with anyone, as Nuguri has a lot of health there, but the Glacial Prison finally is good. Hextech Ultimatum comes down. Nuguri, you ain't going anywhere, but he's already got a Zhonya's, remember, and just walks away.
Yeah, able to walk, still had about 9 seconds on his W. Didn't matter, his mid lane were brawling.
We are fighting all the time here as Prey going down very, very low. The Devour was necessary to stop those bolts as the Void Seeker does not find Prey, but Prey is playing real scared at this point in time, and understandably so.
We had to really catch up to make sure we got all the multi-lane action going on in this game. Just to catch up with Nuka's build. It's not going for the Man-Immune build this time. Or the ability power, as far as we can tell, going down the Storm Razor route.
Yep. He's got that Executioner's Calling there as well, so it might have been an AD values type situation as far as what was the highest value there.
Good flash timing. Alistair's one of those champions you can kind of know when to flash against. Canyon almost just straight up got monstered as the screen changed, because we had to watch the top side. Nuguri ends up flashing into the Glacial Prison that follows him, but they just didn't have confidence they had any way to actually kill the Hemomancer.
Well, I mean, he was golden, and Squall had to tank aggro in order to stay up there as well. So we're going to see this one also two-man. Pulverize, BeryL, pretty good at navigating those. And Nuguri back on the turret, just more than happy.
Sejuani camp extending as the quadrants of the map have been swapped between the two teams. DAMWON Gaming don't really give too many mundos about giving up the red side jungle here because Baron hasn't spawned, so it's not as relevant to control that in 18.5 minutes.
And as this goes on, I mean, Nuguri is just taking money from KT by forcing two people to be topside and answering him. The rest of DAMWON with 4 members are able to guarantee that they have man advantage and have map control. So the longer this goes on, the worse it is for KT Rolster. We'll need to find a different way of navigating this, as the top side of DAMWON's jungle does belong to KT, but the same can be said for DAMWON on the bottom side.
And if you kind of add the numbers together, which is a bit facetious with Sona and Tom, but it's, you know, Relic, Shield minions, plus the minions farmed for Sona, and Tom Kench has been able to farm up 98. You still get less than what's going on for DAMWON. So at this point, you're right, they're losing minions, and that will continue to happen if the camp extends. ShowMaker's running up, so might see a battle here, and Kingen actually has deceptively strong engage now, with the ability to abscond into the Sona ult.
Yep, has that crescendo available and is threatening that right now, as you can see. But SnowFlower on the Tahm Kench can be certainly a nullifying factor onto that. But if you layer the crescendo and the headbutt pole, there just may not be an opportunity for SnowFlower to devour, because Prey's health bar is certainly not a very generous one. Chainlash coming in here, flawless duet, not going to find the mark for ShowMaker there, but BeryL's looking for the flank.
He's breaking ARAM rules, going to be spotted.
Yep, vision available here for KT, as that headbutt was real nice as the Hextech Ultimatum comes down. Unbreakable Will is there. ShowMaker wants to get over that wall, but the cow is going to get thwarted in his attempt, and Kingen just throws out the crescendo because I believe it was running out.
And I believe also that Kingen immuned the headbutt over the wall that was attempted by the Alistair.
Right.
And that is why everything went just fine with the ultimatum, so going to be a bit of a sacrifice here for the cow. He goes down. Down to Drake.
Good Drake, and the only good Drake so far, going to be taken here by KT. Third Cloud Drake going to be coming in at 25 minutes.
The mountain can be very important, because remember, Sona comps can do an extended Baron with sustain, but understandably do less damage to Baron. Let's watch for the immunity timings. We criticized one earlier today. Yeah, did immune through the headbutt over the wall, so BeryL's death was guaranteed.
Yeah, the flawless duet onto 3 meant absolutely nothing. ShowMaker wasn't going to throw his life away heading into that battle, and decides not even to throw a cheeky ultimate over the wall or anything like that. The damage was done, and the cow getting a little bit ahead of himself.
Those immunity things are so cool. My favorite interaction with Ultimatum is the Xayah timing, where you have to actually Xayah ult during the animation to pop it any later, and of course she doesn't do anything. Timing's always integral. Timing on point that time.
There's some weird ultimate interactions like that.
People hate the Infernal Chain Xayah interaction because you do still get tethered and tugged back. We saw that with Perks, I believe, from the LEC on the weekend.
A few abilities like that. I think that tethers
Fiddle
still
gets
work
the,
if you're untargetable.
Fiddle W goes through the...
Yep, still gets the drain.
Drain.
Soul Shackle's not going to get broken, still gets stunned in Featherstorm if you get hit by the ultimate from a Morgana. That feels real bad.
There was a 2010 meta where the hard counter to Vladimir when he was super overpowered was Fiddle in lane.
Yep.
Just because you drained him through his his Sanguine Pool.
Feels real bad.
I'm always happy with the feels bad for a Vladimir, given how oppressive he can be as the game goes on, and this is Nuguri.
And also, if you're talking about way back then, that was when Vladimir was ultra busted.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to release champions, Vladimir is up there with one of the absolutely most overpowered to ever be released into the live client of League of Legends.
I think the most overpowered ever was released LeBlanc that was hotfixed 2 hours into it.
And Diana as well.
Oh, that was
the day afterwards, as this needs to be hotfixed on the side of KT as Score throws the prison away. Can we actually get a kill here as the redemption comes down? KT going to get some healing back from it as Prey uses his Seraph's Embrace and does absolutely nothing with it because the aggro had left. DAMWON unable to get any follow-up kills there, as meanwhile still able to get the outer turret in the mid lane, as they just seem to have more players on the map.
Trinity Force punctures through that turret. KT Rolster run around the map again.
Not to mention Rage Blade done for Nuclear as well.
It's a big deal.
He is.
Nuguri's not yet, but we know he's definitely cooking something up for the late game.
Always poised to be a big deal is this Vladimir player.
But to come up there, I would say, in my recollection, I did play through all these metas, released LeBlanc hotfixed hours in, which is unheard of.
Yeah, that was
back
really
in 20,
silly.
I want to say 12.
Feels a long time ago.
From there, we missed this actually.
We're trying to stop that. Oh, right. That's why he had to really struggle with that particular situation.
This was all pretty straightforward. We just had that play out. Yep. Next to there would be really Xin Zhao was very, very strong.
Yes.
There's famous hot shot clips probably on YouTube still.
That was when I started playing. That was the patch I started on.
Did you see that hot shot clip where he just walks into the enemy jungle in 1v5s?
Yep.
He was really powerful too. And then I would say third was,
Zyra?
do you remember when Skarner was hotfix buffed on PBE right at the end on his last rework with Spires and a 59% win rate?
No, I don't remember that one.
That was, yeah, he was really strong there. So those are probably the three most busted I can remember.
I guess it was because I sort of abused how strong they were, but Diana, Zyra, and Vladimir, outside of Xin Zhao being horrendously overtuned, would be my ones. Diana was fantastic because she was like the best champion in 3 roles for a day. Jungle, top lane, and mid lane, and you could just basically not lose.
That was the first time I remembered Riot being like, this champion's going to be an AP jungle, instantly overpowered. And I was like, okay, of course.
Yep. How that one works. As we've got wards being cleared, but we've got control for DAMWON all over the place. The outer turret falling in the mid lane, actually more important than you would otherwise first expect, because this is a team that wants to keep KT away from the Baron pit because their turn-off Baron is very, very strong, but their ability to get there is not so much as Kingen. A lot of damage on the Nuguri there. As you can see, no armor apart from the Zhonya's in the build because you can't build something like a Ninja Tabi to stop that auto-attack damage. And Nuguri's going to have to be a little bit careful. ShowMaker's over here, though.
And Kingen's no chump in lane. He's a really talented mechanical laner. But next to Nuguri, a lot of people can look mortal. Nice to see him taking the skirmish on well. These team fights are going to be so interesting because you're baited into thinking the Vladimir team's got free reign. Gotta also say that Sona does a lot of burst damage, and Aatrox and Camille can find their target as well, so...
Yeah, not to mention that Score, if he lands that Glacial Prison this time around, will be able to lock down a single target very effectively and create this area where KT can play with.
You put your faith in Vladimir eventually, but I'm not sure we're there yet. So I think KT still very much within a chance here.
Yep, Kingen going to be soloing out this Cloud Drake as BeryL's going to move on over. Canyon jumps into that pit, but it's already gone. Kingen does have the hook shot available. He's going to get over the wall with it as the Glacial Prison is stolen.
KT able to get out. It's a good call here. 4 Drakes, 3 of them Clouds, largely negating each other. DAMWON Gaming walk at Baron, another Kai'Sa Baron threat here.
Yeah, but KT do have a cute little ward around the side of this pit.
And they also have a pushing bot lane that we can talk about, so let's watch how the rotational plays go, because so far those are what has separated DAMWON and KT.
Yep, finally a tempo advantage for KT, but now DAMWON are trying to start a fight. Oh, around it as the Glacial Prison is utilized. Gets a decent stun, but the Devourer is pretty good. Nuclear into the backline, though. The Killer Instinct is fantastic. Prey is going to get taken down, and now that consistent team fight is not going to be there for KT. SnowFlower has to run for the hills. We're waiting for another Blade Surge. The Tongue Lash slow is ridiculous now that one's been buffed, and the Blade Surge not going to be enough to take down SnowFlower as he makes his way out on his Abyssal Voyage.
But they're going to lose Baron for it. Yes, he gets away, hiding in the wolf camp. Strategy is old as time.
Oh, yeah.
Doing a bit of role play, but they're going to have to role play how to defend against a Baron. DWG Gaming running it, and they will claim it.
Yep, not a lot of wave clear on this KT squad, as they thought that they'd be able to get team fights to work in an extended fashion, but they're just not able to do so. DAMWON with a composition that does pretty well in that scenario. Also, Kingen gets something against the flow of play, but it's just not quite enough. As let's have a look at this one once again.
Sniped out to Canyon, and it was not clear instantly where this fight would go, but what you notice is KT's configuration, their approach to the fight. Kingen's so far out of it. His health bar is full because he didn't even get an entrance into the fight, and it just allowed DAMWON to just kill closest target. When it's 5v4, that works pretty well.
Yep. But there's a really cool hat now built for Nuguri. I just feel like it's gone from bad to worse pretty damn quickly for KT. Very close to ShowMaker building that Guardian Angel. It is nerfed on TFT, not so much onto Summoner's Rift.
Prey not going to be winning any awards.
Well,
Positioning,
BeryL's found BDD, and yeah, positioning is a big problem. Killer Instinct is going to kill the Aatrox as Prey's going to die as an afterthought. It's the Vladimir that grabs that one, and Canyon remains alive in the middle of that fight as well. The Zhonya's is going to do the work. There's now Kingen. He has to get out of there. His score is going to die as well. A triple kill for Nuguri, and I have a feeling Mr. Hemomancer is online.
And that was 4v5. ShowMaker wasn't even there. He was busy pushing the top side. This should be the game. Not sure if we'll end right now, but it certainly feels like it.
Yep.
DWG Gaming pushing up. They got so many members.
They do. We're very close to 30 minutes in, but we haven't even hit it just yet. The minion wave is going to get followed. Remember, 2 minutes left on that Baron as Kingen desperately trying to get some work done. Not going to be able to. First turret goes down. Canyon just playing with slivers of health this game. As the Nexus falls, DAMWON Gaming will be victorious. A 2-0 to answer their 0-4 week is going to feel fantastic for this young roster.
I deserve one as well. Thinking of the MVP here won't be too simple. There were good performances along the line for DWG Gaming. Canyon has had a great series. BeryL's Alistair win rate goes up, and DWG Gaming, they needed a moment like this. They arrest a 4-game-in-a-row slide, a 2-match, 2-0 loss streak, into a victory over KT Rolster, and they will come into the calculations at the end of the season in one way or another.
Yep. Canyon certainly with a chance of getting to that 800-point mark on the MVP line, but a lot of DAMWON really making some good decisions. It's just a team that feels like they've got over their hurdle and are moving back into good things. But what does a win against KT Rolster necessarily mean? A team that is looking towards relegations rather than towards those playoffs.
And let's be super negative. It doesn't mean that much about whether DWG Gaming will win LCK Summer. It means very little. But let's also be particular. Canyon might win double MVP after being very poor, desperately poor last week. That means something. I thought his pathing was generally very good in this series. They were also able to keep a kind of high aggression style rather than just wait out KT Rolster and outscale them because KT made a mistake, kind of like Kingzone in Game 1 against Jin Air. That wasn't DWG Gaming in this series, so that's another positive to their side. So if we're doing the evaluations, I think DWG Gaming answered some questions as best they could against the opposition they were against, and then all you can do is start to look forward in case you're wondering when DWG Gaming will play again. It's actually going to be a while away. DWG Gaming don't play again until 1 week from today when they face SK Telecom T1 in a match that could very well be a preview of the LCK final.
Precisely. This is a DWG Gaming that wants to be on the up. A victory against SKT will mean that they could likely get to first place. This is the crazy thing. In the next 3 games, and SKT have 3 games to go as well, the reason SKT are first is because only of game score. We have now 11 victories for DWG Gaming. They will move to sole possession of first place.
That many games.
They're the only team that has played that many games, which is exactly why they're the team that's up there. So SKT going to have to win all 3 if DAMWON are looking like they're going to win all 3. This is the crazy thing. With 4 teams on 10 wins, it's all about who can remain undefeated in these weeks.
It's even more than that, though. There's 7 teams right up there.
Yeah.
7. We've had 4. We had the big 4 last season and then the remaining 6. We've got 7 2 weeks before the end of the season, and that's not a best-of-1 situation where there's not enough games to separate. We play best-of-3s, and there's still nothing between the teams.
Yeah, this is the crazy thing. And today we've had Jinair and we've had KT, 2 of the 3 bottom teams in the LCK, when we have the likes of FLICKR versus Griffin, for example.
Oh, even better. We got tomorrow.
Yeah, FLICKR versus Sandbox.
Gen.G versus Griffin.
These are the huge ones.
Yeah, those are the 6-pointers, it feels like, if you're a Premier League fan, but they are what's going to separate the end of the season. We were skeptical about Prey playing on Sona, and I think we were unfortunately vindicated in that skepticism. His positioning has been pretty poor on his return to pro play, and he was caught out multiple times on the Sona.
Yeah, once again, BeryL just doing some pretty great things on this Alistar. The attempt in that particular play down there didn't actually work, but damn, it would have been beautiful if he did get it. And the idea that he went for it is really cool.
And that's the thing, is the attempt didn't work, but you know what worked for DWG Gaming? The intent around the Sona lane. This was not a Sona.
Yeah.
They got to just farm away 7-minute calculation of the quest and then win the game from there, like Griffin were able to do earlier in the season. This was a marked man bot lane from KT that DWG Gaming rotated on multiple times. They left Nuguri out to dry, but they knew that Vladimir would get there eventually. And I see you smirking about
I'm not sure how that ultimate ever lands, to be honest. Or maybe fat fingering it just a little bit. As the beginning of this play was Prey getting chunked completely in the middle of a teleport animation. Which is why they couldn't go very aggressively on the side of KT.
I aggressively want today to be tomorrow. A FLICKR Sandbox, Gen.G Griffin, especially the second match. Gen.G Griffin was so good.
Yeah, that was
in the first round.
That was our best 2018 game.
Year.
That was our best 2018 game. And you know Gen.G versus Griffin.
And you know what's even better?
What's that?
It was the second round robin of Summer, and it's now the second round robin of Summer. I don't know if we'll get the Lull Park rolling as much as we did the OGN Stadium, as the OGN East Stadium was literally unchained with emotion last year.
Probably one of the best games I have ever witnessed.
It was a 2-0. It was. I will go on record and say it was the best 2-0 ever. It was
and the closest 2-0 ever, which is the crazy part. Griffin unrelenting in their ability to stay involved. They never lost their mental in that series. It was really beautiful to watch. This wasn't as much KT sort of rolling over with that Sona bottom lane not quite working, but it's great to see DAMWON with some dominant performances once again.
Money where your mouth is. KT plays Jinair. They've got the easier schedule. Our Life are in better form.
Yeah.
Who's in relegation? Easy to say KT, but...
Yeah, the thing is, I think KT have the highest chance of actually winning a game moving forward, and so therefore I'm saying that Hanwha and Jinair are the teams that are in relegation. That being said, Jinair could beat them. If you look at today's performances, who was a better team as far as how things went?
I think Hanwha's the better team. The interesting point is, FLICKR plays Sandbox, then Gen.G. They lose both of those. They finish the season against Hanwha Life maybe already out of playoffs, and then who's to say Hanwha Life doesn't steal away a victory. So that's kind of the scenario where Hanwha Life can unsettle. Gonna watch the replay here. They dived bot lane, they got priority and killed the enemy jungler. Score had no fun in this game at all, and neither did the bot lane, as DWG Gaming pretty surgically removed KT from that.
And do you know what's crazy? Kingen wasn't playing Sejuani, but I think landed more Glacial Prisons than
easily. He was the way better Sejuani this game.
Oh, that's a yikes. But this isn't. This is a sole owner of first place on the MVP rankings, which says so much about DAMWON and their slump. Kingen looked like he was absent from last week, comes back, gets a double MVP, and demonstrates exactly why they're able to win this game. If Kingen is there and he is involved, it is a much better looking DWG game.
And if I could ask the question to this player, I would say, all right, what is a good game for you look like? What does a bad game for you look like? And how do you get more of those good games? Because that level of disparate performance, how do we set them up to succeed? Because when we do, it's pretty beautiful.
Well, let's see whether Mina asks him that question as we throw it over to Ji-sun for some translation.
안녕하세요.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's hear from Kingen for today's solo interview. Kingen, you broke the tie ranking and you're in the first place. But I know you mentioned that you're not interested in MVP standings, but you're on the first place. Still no tension? Well, it feels really nice to be on the first place, but well, I'm not as good as my ranking shows, so I think I have to perform even better. So, how do you feel about today's win? I think we performed cleaner than we expected, so it's really nice, and it's really extra happy to taste the victory in a while. So, a lot of teams are trying to ban a lot of champions in the top side of the map. So, did you find a solution against their strategy? We weren't really paying attention to that. Well, we were trying new picks, so we were trying to kind of broaden our champion pools. So, new champions showed up, Talia in jungle. Well, we did see Kiana Talia competition earlier in the split, but it's not that really a usual pick. Well, I just saw a lot of Talia jungles in solo queues. So we were thinking of some mid champions to kind of make a synergy with Talia, a champion that has CCs, and we thought that it was quite viable. So was Renekton mid lane was the solution for that? Well, sort of, and also Renekton is really strong in early game, so we wanted to kind of snowball on it. So, we have a replay on the top lane fight. So, Score was having a red buff path, so you just walk straight to the top lane. So we saw him getting rid of our control ward, so we could predict that he will be on the red buff camp. So we were like planning to be on top lane like maybe several seconds earlier. So I just used my ultimate. But we actually wanted to survive from it, but I wasn't able to kind of dodge the body slam with my flash, so I had to die there. So moving on to game number 2. So you went back to your signature pick, Sylas. And Sylas jungle has a little bit like over 50 win rate, but you are on a 5-1 record. Any tips? Nothing special? If you just practice a lot? Well, now I'm kind of used to this champion. I have more experience, so I can just confidently play it. So we have a replay for the final team fight for game number 2. So this team fight closed out the game. So the bot laners, they said they're just gonna go in for Aatrox. But I had a perfect angle to let my crescendo to Sona Tompkins. Well, and I also had Zonia, so I didn't really think that I was gonna die there. Well, the losing streak wasn't that long, but it was a losing streak, so what kind of communication and feedback did you guys have during the losing streak? Well, we just said our performance was a little bit shaky, so we just wanted to kind of step up our performance. So your next match will be up against SK Telecom. And I guess it's gonna be a must-win game, right? We're just gonna do our best to make sure to win that match, and we're just gonna do our best to win. Congratulations on the win, and this will be the end of the interview with Kingen from DAMWON Gaming, and I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, as usual, for your impeccable translation. 2-0 followed by a 2-0, Papa Smithy. You've got a pretty short welcome back. But thankfully, we've got some poppin' video games, and you can get a good night's sleep tonight to come back and commentate those. I'll be sitting at home with you guys in Twitch chat, watching along as Brendan Valdez is going to be making his Papa re-debut tomorrow as well. I can't hog you for the entire week. In fact, I'm not going to be with you again this week, as LS and I will be doing some commentary with you guys on Sunday.
We had the Jug King being the man of few words. He's still young and doesn't have too much say, and also don't want to give away too many cards. You got a week to prepare for SKT. I imagine they have a lot of talking to do about that series, because it's a must-win in terms of top calculation, that's for sure. You're not finishing first. If you lose that match, you might both be making playoffs, though. DAMWON Gaming, because they have played more matches than the friends around them, do hit first. The one I want to draw your attention to is Griffin, because they are on pace to be the same as DAMWON, but they've played 2 matches less with how the schedule goes.
Yeah, exactly right. Have a look at the loss column. It's the 6 losses and the 7 losses for King's own side that's going to make things really dicey for a lot of these teams.
11 is the minimum for top 5, you'd have to think. So King's Own can only get there, and their game score will actually be not the best either. But we're looking at the bottom side here. This is what it's all about, and this is what I was alluding to. KT may be below for now, but they should reach 5 match wins. If you lose to Jin Air, honestly, you should be relegated. So
true.
At the end of the day, game score might not matter unless Hanwha Life can find a match victory. And you look at these, and FLICKR and maybe Griffin, if either of those are out of calculation for playoffs, which is unlikely but possible. I believe that's FLICKR's last match, and it's definitely Griffin's the last day of the season. Maybe you find a team with not much to play for, but that's the best you could hope for.
FLICKR can definitely lose to Hanwha. That is absolutely
a fact. They
FLICKR can lose to everyone. So in theory, I'm looking at Hanwha's run and seeing that one as their opportunity to possibly steal a win. But KT should be favorites for making it out, because they do face Jin Air Green Wings. This is going to be tomorrow, and this is a super hype day.
Yep.
FLICKR versus Sandbox is just a huge roll of the dice. I have no idea what could happen in this particular matchup. Smart Money says Sandbox, but FLICKR have surprised us throughout the entire season.
Best of FLICKR beats anyone except, right now, SKT.
Yep.
And Sandbox are the more consistent team, so you can choose them. Genji Griffin is always a highlight, a wonderful match.
Cannot wait for that series.
It's going to be a great day tomorrow, and there's a great day on Sunday too, so enjoy Korean League of Legends. We don't got much left.
Yep, that's exactly right. That is going to be it for tonight. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Good night.
You take me higher when I feel low. Make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, all with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come